Okay, welcome. Today we're going to continue on with solving of polynomial equations by factoring. So go ahead and take your notes out and we'll get rolling. Remember, if you're falling behind in the video or didn't quite understand something, pause the video or rewind the video and listen to it again. Sometimes it takes a couple times through to understand the concept. Okay, let's begin. Today we're going to solve the polynomial equation by factoring, and the equation we're going to look at is 2x cubed minus 6x squared minus 6x plus 18 is equal to 0. Let's go ahead and put that down in your notes and pause the video if necessary to do that. Again, the equation is 2x cubed minus 6x squared minus 6x plus 18, and that's equal to 0. Okay, so the first thing I notice is this is a third degree polynomial with 4 terms. Third degree means it's not quadratic, so I can't use quadratic formula or completing the square. Factoring is probably our best bet. And because there's 4 terms, the method we're going to try is factor by grouping. Now we factor by grouping this exactly how it sounds. We're going to group some terms. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to group the first 2 terms using parentheses. So I have 2x cubed minus 6x squared. And I'll group the last 2 terms. I'm going to leave a little space in here and go negative 6x plus 18. And again, that's equal to 0, so I'll put that over here. So using a set of parentheses, I can group the first 2 and the second 2. And this is important, make sure there is a plus sign in between. Okay, we don't want to let this negative sign leak out here and make this negative. That would change the whole problem. The negative sign must stay with the 6x. Okay, our next step after grouping the first 2 terms and the last 2 terms is to take the GCF out of each set of parentheses, the greatest common factor. So the greatest common factor of 2x cubed and 6x squared is 2x squared. Okay, when I pull that out, or when I factor that out, I'm left with a x in the first position and a negative 3 in the second position. Going on to the second set of parentheses, I'm going to factor out the GCF as well, but keep in mind, I want to make this set of parentheses the same as this set of parentheses. In other words, I need to be left with an x minus 3. So as I look up here and I'm looking ahead, I notice I have a negative sign in my leading term and a positive sign here. I need to reverse those. And the rule of thumb generally is anytime your leading term is negative, factor out the negative with your GCF. So I'm going to factor out a negative, and it looks like 6. When I factor out a negative 6, I get a positive x, and my sign changes. I get a negative 3. Again, equal to 0 is just come straight down. So after I grouped the first 2 terms and the second 2 terms, took the greatest common factor out of the first set of parentheses and the second set of parentheses, I'm now going to factor out the x minus 3's. If we look at this, this is 2 terms. I have 2x squared times x minus 3 is the first term. The second term is 6 times x minus 3. So what they have in common is the x minus 3's, and that's why you wanted them to match. So I'm going to factor those out. So I'm going to factor out the x minus 3. And when I do that, I'm left with the 2x squared, and I'm left with the minus 6, and that's equal to 0. Okay, that is factoring by grouping. Now I'm in the form, the zero product property form, where I have an expression times expression equal to 0. I can now set these equal to 0 and solve. So my first solution is going to be x minus 3. Set it equal to 0. That implies that my first solution will be 3. My second solution, however, got a little more work. I notice it's quadratic. It's 2x squared minus 6 is equal to 0. To solve this, I'm going to have to isolate x by adding 6. Gives me 2x squared is equal to negative 6. Divide by 2. That gives me, and I'm going to go ahead and move that up here. I'm going to get x squared is equal to, and I want to jump back before I get my answer. 0 plus 6 is not negative 6, it's actually positive 6. I want to make that a sign error, so positive 6. And that's going to be equal to 3. Now by square rooting both sides, I can see x is equal to plus or minus the square root of 3. So I have 3 solutions. My first one is x is 3. My second one is x is equal to plus or minus the square root of 3. Okay, if you have any questions, go ahead and ask a partner, ask a friend, jot them down, and ask me when I get back. Hope this helps. Thank you.